Hello and welcome to the other side of the world. I hope you're having a fabulous evening on your side of the world. Please give me just a moment as I make sure that the sound quality is working and everything is set up. I hope you all are having an amazing evening. Let me scoot in my chair too. I don't have a chair on wheels, so I actually have to scoot it. And let me get the background music going. So I know it's been about a month since I've seen everyone. We've just been busy. I'm enjoying the perfect spring weather over on this side of the world, going horseback riding. And it looks like my background music has ads. So I might fix that here in a moment, but let me just skip it and see if they'll continue there for now, and I'll fix it later. And looks like the live is going, and let me just make sure the sound's working. Yep, all right, looks like everything's going great. Hello, Sunshine, good to see you. So you will be so happy, Sunshine, because if you look right there, there is magic unicorn cards. And Teaspoon is here to do magic unicorn cards with everyone. Oh, I was just trying to move this and I just cracked my tray. So let me just kind of, well, now I just broke it off. Well, that's sad, but it's okay. Let me just move it out of the way. So, let me get the unicorn card shuffled here. Oh, I think it's such a brand new pack. I haven't even opened it yet. So yes, I did order magic unicorn cards because I couldn't find my previous two. I put them somewhere where I could find them, which is exactly how you make things so you can't find them. And then I couldn't find them. So I ordered another one. And then sometime in the waiting for them to arrive, I actually found the others, but I didn't have time to live stream. So anyways, we'll start up with magic unicorn cards. And yes, Teaspoon's gonna come and draw the magic unicorn cards. Oh, Teaspoon found them. She wanted me to correct that. Teaspoon found the original ones. She wanted me to provide that correction. So anyways, let me get them shuffled and then she'll come and draw magic unicorn cards. So Sunshine's in the chat, so you're definitely going to draw one for Sunshine and one for yourself. Anyone else? And let me put on my glasses here so I can see. All right, so are we doing yours first or Sunshine's? Okay, so you want to come over? So Sunshine, magic, Teaspoon's going to draw your magic unicorn card for you. Well, she pulls you one over here on the edge. So there you go. So Sunshine, your magic unicorn card today is listen to your true feelings. Don't let others talk you into doing something you know is wrong. So that's a great magic unicorn card for today. And then Teaspoon's going to draw her own magic unicorn card for today. One from the other side. And hers is worth waiting for. Your patience will be rewarded. That's a great card for Teaspoon. So since I've seen everyone last time, I think we've gone horse riding twice. It's in Tokyo, so it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. It's not a long distance, it's just traffic, and driving in Japan's really intense. And we stay in the little cabins there, and we ride the golf carts around, and then Teaspoon rides horses for 3 to 5 hours a day. And we just we spend 3 to 4 days there, and we just have a really good time. And there's a restaurant there that serves really amazing food and all that. So one of the projects I was supposed to be working on while there was my blue mittens, and I kind of stalled out on them. They didn't get very far, so I'm kind of like, they don't have far to go. Like, I just have to decrease for the tops and add the thumb, but I kind of got stalled out on them, and I've been doing some shorts on this yarn and this pattern that I've been writing. So I'll get back to it when I feel motivated to get to it, but that's kind of one of my works in progress. And then the other work in progress I wanted to show, which is one that if you've been following my other channel for a while, you'll recognize. It got put away for the winter, and then I went and found it just as the weather's warmed up here. So this is called Purgatory Blanket. And I just want to make sure that when I pick it up and pull it over here in front of the screen, it doesn't drop any stitches. So this is going to be a 5 to 6 foot wide blanket. I'll have to double check the measurements of it again, and 7 foot long. It's going to be mostly stripy. This is 4 teaspoon. So it's just a very slow going project, and I have it kind of sitting here next to my chair so I can work on it. And the current yarn I have on the needles, so most of it's been out of stone washed sheep cheese, stone washed. They're, oh yeah, see, it keeps doing that. Hold on here, because let me pause this and fix my background music. All right, so I switched up which account I have my, what's it called? The special YouTube thing. Oh, I don't have it logged in here. I'd have to add an account, and I could do that. It's just going to take a minute. It's always the tech stuff. All right, we'll just let it run. I'll just do my best to skip the commercials. The premium membership with YouTube, I had a little bit, I've been having like a month of all kinds of technical difficulties. So all year I've been trying to reduce my amount of social media and technology type stuff. I call it digital declutter. I'm having a year of digital decluttering. So I've deleted a YouTube channel. I've deleted some Google Gmail accounts. I've been deleting different social medias that I have. I've been reducing my Facebook presence. Well, I've been doing that for a while, but now I've figured out how to take all my content off Facebook, which was my primary source of social media. So I've been cutting back all this digital clutter, so digital decluttering. And in that, one of the things I've done is taken my YouTube, well, I tried to add both my Spoon account and this account as a family plan onto YouTube Premium because I was being lazy. And YouTube wouldn't let me do it because my Spoon account is somehow, I guess, in one country, and my Lollipop Cabin channel is in another country, even though it's all me and I'm in the same place. And so it wouldn't let me set up a YouTube Premium family account with both of my accounts because it said one was in the wrong country. So I ended up, because I primarily want to use my Lollipop Cabin channel, I primarily set up the premium on my Lollipop Cabin channel, which was great because it's actually less money than the Japan version is less money than the US version. I think it's $8 a month for the Japan version in US dollars if you convert it to the money. So I've changed over, but on my laptop, I've never logged into my Lollipop Cabin account, so it's not in my recent. So it's pulling up my Spoon account, which is how I'm getting the ads. But even though my Spoon account is supposed to be in America, I guess, even though I originally set it up here in Japan, but it's on the YouTube Premium side, it thinks it's in America, all my ads are in Japanese. So there's this whole, we were just talking about this on another channel earlier, there's this whole thing going on currently with YouTube, with languages, and how they're like, I like to watch my Japanese news in Japanese, and now it's dubbing over my Japanese news in AI English. So my friend live streams, she's in Sweden, she live streams, and they are now converting her English chat into Swedish. And normally she'd be fine with that, but because she's live streaming in English, it takes a lot for her to maybe, like, we're typing in English in her chat, and she is reading it just fine because she's Swedish, but like she wants to respond to us in English, and that's definitely, that bends your brain quite a bit when you're reading something in maybe your native language and then you want to respond in English. Like YouTube's making her do extra work when she just maybe wants to read her chat in English and respond in English, so she doesn't have to flip-flop her brain a lot. So that's some of the technical struggles some of us have been having out here on YouTube recently with some of the changes they've been making. And now we're going to get ads in English and in Japanese because we'll have to count how many. So that's so far 2 in English, 1 in Japanese for my background music. But as you can see, I can just skip them right away very quick. Always something with technology kind of throwing you off. Anyways, I wanted to show the progress on this blanket. So this Japanese yarn that I got is the same feel as the Sheep G's Stonewashed. And hello, Scotty. Good to see you. Scotty, would you like a magic unicorn card? Because my magic unicorn card assistant can return. Maybe one for you and one for Willow and one for Rachel. You let me know. Anyways, I didn't mean to bring my project out for so long, but I kind of went off wandering and not reading my chat. But I wanted to show why I was really determined to live stream today, because I've cleaned off my little area here a couple times and then I get, oh, we're watching the pigeons outside. You could choose, do you want to feed the pigeons now and then magic unicorn card, or magic unicorn card then feed the pigeons? Feed the pigeons. Okay, Scotty, your magic unicorn cards will come after she feeds the pigeons. I'm sorry, my assistant has a very busy schedule and she has to feed the pigeons first. So anyways, I wanted to live stream a couple times this past month because I've gotten some yarn in the mail that I wanted to share, and every time I clean off my little area here, it's just so much to set up, like your camera, your microphone, you know, your background music that now seems to play ads, like all the little things to set up that I was just like, once I got it cleaned off, I was like, nah, I'm not feeling it. Or the sun wasn't right, or like something, always something, right? So today's the day, because I have to catch up on the yarn that's come in the mail so far, because more yarn's on the way in the mail. So let's get into it. So this here is a yarn I got off. I kind of did like a whole big like Easter kind of, this all came on Easter because we went to an Easter event, and we picked up this yarn at the mailbox on base for Easter. So I'll take it out of the plastic bag here in a moment, because now my assistant is done feeding pigeons. So this is from a yarn dyer on Etsy. We'll pull it out and look at it, but hold on, let me put the little, I'm a little disorganized because it's been a while since I've done this, so let me throw the little plastic away. So yes, I have to show you this yarn, put it away so I can make space for more yarn coming in. So, little ears. We will be doing 3 magic unicorns cards. Then we'll open up this yarn in this package. All right, so come over, assistant. So first we're gonna do Scotty's card. Worth waiting for. Your patience will be rewarded. So there you go, Scotty. There's your card. Scotty's daughter, Willow, who's just a bit younger than you. Willow, this is Willow's card. Happy thoughts. To feel happier right now, think about a memory or something else that makes you happy. So such a wonderful card. And then for Scotty's wife, Rachel, who's currently sick right now. Just like a cold sick, not like death's door sick, I believe. And Willow says hi. And then for Rachel, creative. Draw, paint, think, and act in creative ways. So when you're not feeling well, that's a nice thing to do. You can sit and doodle, read a book, drink some tea. All right, So let me open this. Let me put the Magic Unicorn cards first away. All right, and then we'll look at this yarn here. I'm sorry for the rattling plastic. So this is all from the same Etsy seller. Bless your little ears. So this is a bulky weight yarn. And again, on Etsy called Danny's Designs. I actually didn't know her name. I just searched for yarn and buy whatever happens to catch my eye. So this caught my eye when I was there. I just love bright, vibrant colors. This one isn't so bright, but I'm thinking like combining some of them. It gives me one of these, I believe this one. Yes, this one's called April Showers. So it's supposed to give you a rainstormy kind of feel like, which is, I mean, interesting because earlier today it was a pouring rain and windy, and now the sun's out. So definitely we're in the month of April, definitely April showers today. So I think, and this to me reminds me a lot of storm clouds. So the rain, the storminess, the pops of color for all the flowers coming out. So that's from that order. And now I kind of, hold on, I need a kind of a place to put things as I migrate. Oh, and sorry, I'm supposed to skip the ad. Sorry about that, you guys. All right, there we go. Yeah, so that's now 3 English ads. All right, so they go off to their storage spot. And then I have to go on and leave reviews too. So if you're a knitter here, which you may or may not be, but if you're a knitter kind of in this circle, you know someone named Bag O'Day. And if you didn't know, she has an Etsy store. So I believe she's one of the few yarny type people with over 1 million subscribers. She has a really big community. And sorry for the rattling plastic. I'll try and make it quick. And hello, Coconut. Good to see you. Oh my gosh, so much rattliness. All right. So let me get all the rattliness out of the way. All right, so Bag O'Day, I was saying she's a YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers. She does a live stream. Hundreds of people are in her live stream. She's very, very sweet, very kind. She writes a lot of patterns. She does a lot of tutorials. I don't hang out, even though I'm talking about her and how well she's done on YouTube, I don't really hang out in her live stream chats. I'm not a fan of really like busy chats and active, super like lots of people in the chat. I like smaller live streamers who maybe only have like 20 or so people in their chat, and you have kind of more that one-on-one interaction, which, I mean, I'm sorry for those of you that I follow and you're like, Spoon, are you saying that's my live stream? Well, I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. I know you want more people in your live stream chat, but I like you because you don't have a lot of people in your live stream chat and it doesn't seem so overwhelming. Like my chat has hardly anyone in it, and that's kind of how I like it. I don't like being overwhelmed with a super busy chat because I often ignore you guys, which I'm so sorry about, especially because I've got you guys sitting in the wrong place. So anyways, this lady, Bag O'Day, very sweet lady. She sometimes will dye yarn and put it on her Etsy site, which I don't think many of her fans, her followers know about because she doesn't really promote it. I actually don't think I found her through her YouTube. I think I found her through looking for yarn to buy, and then I found her through Etsy, and I was like, oh, hey, I recognize that person. I'm gonna buy some yarn from her. So I got this lovely blue, which blue isn't really my color, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. But we have a horse trainer, an English-speaking horse trainer where we go to ride horses, who is new. He was just hired think 9 months ago now, because it was 7 months when we started returning back to there, because that was one of the things, is all the lessons we used to do were in Japanese. So it's a difference. And I felt like the horses before were kind of on autopilot, and I'm not sure if Teaspoon was actually learning anything. So now I feel like she's learning with this very, very skilled, experienced English-speaking trainer. So we've been talking about making him a hat for this next winter, and he's very much a blues and greens and browns, that kind of whole like foresty, naturey vibe, unlike my, neon pink that I just showed you, right? Like, these are not his colors, but maybe something more like subdued like this would be more along his line. So I might make him something out of this. I was looking at some yarn that had like some more like dark greens in it, because he has a very dark green commercial knit hat that he wore, like a brown green, like almost what's considered like an army green, like a really dark, like camouflagey kind of dark. He's Dutch, so he's not American at all, but a very dark green kind of hat that he wore this past winter. And I was looking at some yarn that had some blues and some greens and some blacks in it, and maybe I'll order that instead. But I don't know, but I'll consider that. I hadn't really considered him for this when I ordered it. I just, out of what she had available, I picked the one I like most. So that was this one. And then let's see, what do we got else going on? Make my little mountain. See what's in my little bag here. And then I went to the dollar store here in Japan. I'm so glad I'm doing this, because I need to move this out of my room and make room for what's coming in the mail. So here's what you can find at a Japanese dollar store. And I'll have to make sure I can see the frame here. Am I on YouTube? Well, we're on YouTube now. So yes, I'm on YouTube, because here we are. Is that your question? Is my main spoon channel still on YouTube? Yes, but I keep thinking about deleting it. It's just, I haven't like cleared out all the videos on it yet. And I don't plan to live stream. I keep posting shorts over there just as a comparison to see how they do here with my, 70 some subscribers versus over there where I have like 3,000 and a more established YouTube like posting history. So I've been posting shorts here and there, the same shorts, doing like a comparison of the analytics and at different times, to like, YouTube's always an experiment. You never know what's, you could put a lot of thought into some content. Yep. There we go. So you could post, you could put a lot of thought into content and make it, and it just flops. It's just how it goes. You could just find the most random thing. Like on my previous channel, one of the best videos I did in the beginning was of a fish eating like a piece of bait thrown in. That was my first kind of big video. It was no thought. It was like, oh, I'm gonna, post this video of this fish eating some bait. And that's what did well in the beginning. It was other random things that took off. I had a firework video that I never expected to take off that did. I had a cat cafe video that I just went and recorded cats that took off. Like, you just never know. And then anything that I actually tried to plan out and put thought into and organize and make like really well thought out content just didn't perform like I thought it would. And so I'm finding that I'm enjoying making shorts content, but I'm like, you just got to test stuff out. You can't think too hard on it. So anyways, I'm showing this dollar store yarn. He's watching me on Twitter. I'm not like, that's interesting, Scotty, because I'm not like, so you can, I'm using Prism, right? You see that down in the corner, which is a service that you can live stream with. And I'm using it because I'm just more experienced with it, and because often it will hold a steady connection better than live streaming directly with YouTube. So with Prism, you can live stream to multiple platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, right now called X. So you can use Prism to live stream to multiple platforms, but I've never set it up to do that. And I don't think my Lollipop Cabin channel is linked to my Spoon account, because I do have a Spoon account on Twitter, but I never connected any of my YouTubes to my Twitter account. I might have connected my Spoon one, but definitely not this one. Anyways, we're going to cut back to the solid colors in a moment. Yeah, and who knows what's going on. So I've been noticing there's been a lot of changes with technology with YouTube. It's interesting if there's a connection between Twitter and YouTube, because Twitter is owned by now Elon Musk, and YouTube is owned by Google, who is owned by who knows what. But like sometimes those universes don't cross. Like maybe a couple of years ago when Facebook and Instagram went down, Twitter was the only thing that was still up. This was before Elon Musk bought it. So anyways, there's some dollar store yarn there. And it's all here in my Just a Girl Who Loves Pigeons bag. So I'm going to put it back as I kind of go to the solid colors. Yes, these are dollar store yarns here. And this is all 100% cotton. So I don't know what I'm doing with it. It's just... I've been in a very like bright and pastel-y kind of mood. So I got these a while ago at the dollar store. I went to go buy, we went to the hardware store, and there's a dollar store in the hardware store. So you always end up going into the dollar store to go when you go to the hardware store. And that's how they got acquired. But I don't remember what Teaspoon and I went to the hardware store for. You remember, Teaspoon, why we went to the hardware store? Was it just to buy... We ended up buying strawberry plants.
It was to check it out for the furniture for our balcony, but then we never...
Oh, okay, yeah. So we went to the hardware store to buy a bench for our balcony, like a sitting bench and table. But then we walked into the hardware store. We didn't want to walk all that distance over to that corner of the store. And so we ended up not doing that, going and visiting all the pets in the store. So Teaspoon likes to look at the dogs and I like to look at the fish. And then we ended up talking to someone for a while in the fish area. And then we walked in a big circle and went over to the dollar store area. So anyways, yes, and the little mice and gerbils and that. So anyways, this also came from the dollar store, also 100% cotton. So you can see that I have a rainbow here because, you know me, I love rainbows. So that was all from the dollar store. And that I'm going to go put away in my yarn stash room. And let me just get it all bagged up here. So that's good because this was kind of one bag. The mail was in that one bag. And that dollar store yarn was in this bag. And now that bag can exit my room. So let me just gather it all up over here. Because I kind of put it on the next phase of what to go through. Do you still have bunnies? No. So Scott, a year ago? About a year ago, after Teaspoon had gotten sick and been in the hospital for a month, and we were struggling with how to make sure the bunnies were taken care of, and especially if Marion deployed, we started trying to rehome all our bunnies. And that didn't work out so well. And then we were also considering what it would be like to move internationally back to the US because we still were waiting for orders this time last year. So how are we going to move 4 bunnies back to the US? So with the medical stuff and the potential of moving, we tried to rehome them and we couldn't find anyone on base who wanted them. But 7 or 8 blocks from us is like this lady who adores bunnies. This woman who runs a shop. And I don't know how I found this out, but anyways, Japanese woman. Anyways, I found out that I could give custody of my bunnies to her, you have to pay a fee, right? And then she will take your bunnies and rehome them in with a Japanese family for you. So, yeah, that's what we ended up doing. She has what's the big giant rabbit she has? A Norwegian something. The largest bunny out there. I forget what it's called. She has one of those. And anyways, that's what we did last spring, was we took our bunnies over to the bunny shop, and she took our bunnies, and then she found them Japanese homes. And she might have found them some homes together, because but that was one of the challenges we had with our rabbits ourselves. And it was a us problem, not a rabbit problem, is when you have female rabbits, you have to get them spayed or they will fight with each other, and they will viciously fight with each other. And here in Japan, it's about $400 or $500 to get a rabbit spayed. So we knew we couldn't introduce our rabbits to each other without getting some spayed. So we got them all spayed, all 4 of them. So quite the cost investment there. And then I tried to introduce 2 of them to each other. The first 2 we had, I think that was before we had the second 2. And one of them bit the face of the other one, even though they had been spayed. And I had to go get, it was the white one the gray one bit the white one's face. So I had to take the white one to go get stitches. And it became, yes. Yeah, Omni bit Yuki's face. And so it became this just tension with us about introducing them to each other, that we ended up not introducing them to each other, because it was a human problem, not a rabbit problem at that point. I was afraid they were going to hurt each other, even though they had all been spayed, and probably would have, if you get rabbits and you get more than one, there's a lot of YouTube videos about how to bond rabbits. And it's kind of an intensive process. And we definitely looked at it before going down this path, but we just weren't capable of doing it. And it wasn't like a time commitment issue or a willingness or a lack of knowledge. We just we were too intimidated by it. And so I think it was better to hand them off to more experienced, more comfortable, more confident bunny people than us. And we weren't sure if Teaspoon's medical situation, which way it was going to go. And we weren't sure what the military was doing with us at that time. So it was just better for them to find permanent Japanese homes. I brought my tray back over here just for a moment, because I did speak on my journals a bit, and I have this little swatch. Pets are very expensive. What breeds were our bunnies? So the gray one was just a dwarf bunny of some kind, nothing specific. The white one was an Angora, and then we had 2 Rex bunnies, which are very soft. And and the gray one was always aggressive. Teaspoon will argue that she was the sweetest of them, but she was the one who bit I don't think she ever bit Teaspoon, but she bit all of us. And she used to chase my older child just to attack, the bunny at the end of Mighty Python. That is what I feel like this gray bunny was. It was just a killer bunny ready to attack people. and it was a sweetheart. And Teaspoon's here in the background saying she was a sweetheart, but she would chase my older child just to attack her.
She fell asleep on me 5 separate times. She would lick my face all the time.
Yeah, she was super sweet with Alithia, and she was okay with me, but overall, she was the most aggressive of all our buddies, and she bit the other one in the face.
You probably did something.
All right, so anyways, I wanted to talk a bit about my little journals here, because I think I showed that I got a new one. Yeah, and thanks, Sunshine. It was kind of a challenging decision, but it's been a bit over a year now, and I just realized it was the best. We have no pets at this time because Teaspoon is going to the hospital every other month, and instead of having pets, we just go ride horses instead.
Delivers one control plane for
And sorry about the ad in the background. I don't have a skip option yet. There we go. And been too lazy to fix it. So yeah, we just go we go kind of borrow other people's pet horses. So that's our pet solution in life. Teaspoon's sad because Teaspoon wants a dog, but we don't live in a place where we're allowed to have a dog. It was never we were going to be in Japan this long. It was supposed to be we came to Japan for 3 years and then we went to Europe. And Europe's not come up in our options, or we ended up, Europe has come up in our options, but we've chosen Japan because we decided we liked it here so much. So this is my journal from last year. I put stamps and stickers. It was my like book reading list, and it's full of stickers. And so like there's some blank spaces still in it. I'm still putting stickers in it, even though we're already into 2026. I got a new 2026 journal. I haven't put anything into it yet, except one. Oh, which is good. Talk about this sticker because that's what this purple box is. So I've got one sticker in it so far, maybe more than one. But I've got some cool little accessories to go with it. This is a Hobie Nochi journal. So I've got some little like accessories, and then I have, hold on, I've got knitting needles that will fall down. I have a whole pack of stickers here, which I know you can't see them, but I have a whole bunch of stickers that I got that I put in this little case to go through and find out what fits in my journal now when I feel like being in a journaling kind of mood. I haven't been in a journaling kind of mood because I've been in kind of a yarn obsession mood, which is kind of what this thumbnail on my video is about, is when you get obsessed over a color and you keep looking for it. But before I get into that, this here, I forgot how to open this case. These are little mini marbles. Looks like this little lid came off. So that was the marble sticker. So I found this artist that makes little mini marbles. And you know, because obviously I need more marbles in my life. So now we're into collecting little mini marbles. They're tiny. And he hand makes every little mini marble. So that's what this little box is for. That's his name there. All right. So that's here on my little tray. My little tray that broke. This was a new tray. And I just picked it up just now and it cracked. I think maybe too much weight there on that corner. I'll have to order another one. They're like a couple dollars. I'll send my family go get one at the Daiso, which is the dollar store. So I already showed this yarn. That's what I'm working on, the blanket next. Let's move into the other story I got going on. Thanks you guys for hanging out with me. And my random kind of all over the place storytelling. So finding indie dyer yarns in Japan. And indie dyer is, let me maybe pull out some comparison. This is indie dyed yarn. That's not the best example. Let me find a good example. This is commercially dyed yarn. So commercially dyed yarn is yarn dyed as you imagine, like big corporate warehousey type situation. Lots of yarn all dyed the same color on a big factory kind of level. Indie dyed yarn is usually in reference to one person, sometimes more than one person if it's grown to a decently sized yarn business, but usually a small group of people in a very small kind of situation, like their house, their kitchen, right? Or yeah, usually always a kitchen, because it requires, or they have a little room in their house where they could do it, or like a small like facility they've rented, with some maybe sinks and that, and some tray racks and that. Anyways, small operation, and it's like they hand paint the yarn individually, or maybe up to 8 skeins at a time. They put it in a big tray and do 8 all at once, but it's very, very small scale, very independent, very inconsistent results between each skein because each one's being dyed in. Like you could have Let me come back. I'll bring the blue ones because that's the one that I actually have the example of. You can almost kind of see it here. So these were dyed together, but they obviously don't look the same. This has some more dark blue in it. This has some more splotchiness because when you pour the dye, it will hit the different sections differently. So they're like close to the same, but they're not perfectly exactly the same. So indie dye knitting is not really a big thing in Japan. Like any yarny craft isn't really big. Knitting, crochet, there is a community, probably more crochet than anything, but it's not like and there's another English ad. All right, so it's not as big here as in the US or in Europe. So being that the whole knitting yarn, and there's not a lot of sheep farms in Japan either. There's just 3 in all of Japan, which is a huge country. You might not realize, but it's very huge. So it's not a big industry here. Wool's not a big industry in Japan, and even like cotton and paper yarns aren't that big here. It exists, but it's not the same. And I think it's not the same because a lot of US yarn industry comes from Europe, like the spinning wheel came over from Europe. The spinning wheel, as we know, which probably none of you know, but you can imagine like the movie Sleeping Beauty, the cartoon, that's pretty much how spinning wheels look. That never kind of came into Japan. Japan was kind of isolated, so they developed their own way of producing fibers. And here in Japan, the fibers were plant-based fibers and silk and that, so they never got into how wool was spun, which is what's mostly done on a spinning wheel. Not that you can't do the other fibers on a spinning wheel, but it's different. Wool's primarily on a spinning wheel. Wool was never in Japan. So like the history just developed differently, and to this day, it impacts the overall industry. So while you can get yarn in Japan, it's kind of hit or miss what you can get, and indie dyers just didn't take off like it has in the US and in Europe. So finding an indie dyer in Japan is challenging. And then Japan's whole online experience, especially shopping experience, is very different than the US online shopping experience. And even Amazon is different in Japan than it is in the US. So you adapt to the difference. And here we have a big online store called Rakuten, which is like, it's like combining Amazon with like MySpace a little bit, like in its format and layout. Like I'm sure Japanese people understand it better, but it just, to me, it feels clunky. They probably think it's streamlined, but to me, it feels clunky and outdated. And it does not feel streamlined to me. It feels cluttered, but I think this is just how Japanese culture mindset works, because when I go into the hardware store, there's all kinds of advertisements going, a little television displays. It's noisy in the hardware store and overwhelming. It's just so much stuff, so overwhelming. Just it's a sensory overload. And I find that too also in Tokyo. Like driving in Japan is a sensory overload. You drive so much slower here, but like the layouts of the roads and everything is just like, I'm exhausted because it's a sensory overload. So shopping in Japan is very different, and there's not a lot of like independent yarn dyer websites. And so when you find one, and then you can actually order from it, because Japan's banking system is different than the US banking system, and sometimes you can use your card on Japan websites and sometimes you just can't. There's no way around it. And Japan's money paying system, like sometimes I buy things on Yahoo Auctions, Japan Yahoo Auctions, which is their version of eBay, and I choose a cash option, which is where I take a little barcode to the convenience store and they scan it, and I pay for my auction at the 7-Eleven convenience store. Though currently my Japan Yahoo Auctions is broken because it's just that it's a month of technical challenges, but I have to put in like verify you're a human, but I have to put it in Katana language, and my phone, I can't remember how to get it out of English letters into katana letters. So I can copy and paste, but I can't copy and paste as fast as the time limit, and I can't remember how to change my keyboard. And so I'll figure it out. I always figure it out. Anyways, roundabout story to say, I found an indie dyer in Japan who advertises heavily on Facebook. And so I was super excited. So this was my first order that actually worked because the website worked for my bank card. So I was so excited. I found an indie dyer that has wool, that can take my payment card, and they had colors I wanted, and it was in stock, and they were like still like active. And so I placed an order, and this is what I got. It was wrapped in tissue paper, but I've thrown that away. So you might not like it, but I was like, wow, I love this. I'm so excited. So I was so happy. I'm following her on him or her. I'm not really sure at this point. I was following him or her on Facebook and like watching for the updates, and things do things different. People do things different here. They do like little pop-up shops and little short runs of that. So he or she, this dyer, only dyes like so much of this, and then once it's gone, it's gone. And they do like a little announcement like, hey, I'm going to dye this. They advertise, I'm going to dye this skein of yarn. It's going to be for sale on 2 days from now. Be there or miss out, pretty much. So they posted a new post of a yarn they were going to do that way, and it's called Candy Hearts. So it's this is the yarn that's in my thumbnail. Yes, you can do everything at 7-Eleven. It's true, you can. At Japan 7-Eleven, you can do everything. All right, so he or she, this dyer, they advertised they were going to do this yarn called Candy Hearts. And it was pink, yellow, and a minty green, and it is the colors on my thumbnail photo. This is what ties into the whole obsessing over a color. And I think it was Thursday they started advertising, and it was going to be released at 7 or 8 p.m. on Saturday. So I was like, I want this yarn, I will be there. So it was 8 p.m. because it was right around Teaspoon's bedtime, and we have a bedtime routine. So I was making sure I was going to be online at the perfect time for this bedtime routine. Like, you know, I put them to bed a couple minutes early, and I was online. I was ready to go. I put it in my cart. I go to check out, and the website starts glitching. And it does this weird thing where it just keeps reloading the page. It won't let me click the purchase button. It just keeps reloading the page and reloading the page and reloading the page. So I get my other device, and I try on there, and it just keeps glitching. And if this had been the first time I had ordered with them, I would have been like, well, never mind. This just wasn't meant to be. Their website's broken. But I had ordered from them before. So I'm like, it's worked before. So I waited, and the yarn ended up selling out in those few minutes of me trying to figure out how to get past this glitch. I decided the next day, sometimes yarn dyers will do a pre-order or they'll restock. And they released 3 colorways at this time, and they did a pre-order for the other 2. So I was kind of like watching and trying it. So I went on my laptop and tried to order the yarn, and it was still doing the glitch thing the next day for the pre-order. So I wrote them a message on Facebook Messenger saying, hey, I tried to order this and I can't order anything. Your website's glitching, and I've tried it on 3 devices. And I waited about 12 hours because to me, like, that's a reasonable amount of time to give a business. And there was like no response. And on their website, they don't really say message us on Facebook Messenger. They say message us on this app called Line, which is used more here in Japan. So I messaged them online, and I messaged them, and you have to message in Japanese. So I messaged them letting them know that I had tried to order this. I was on time. I'd waited a couple days. I was on time to order this yarn. And the glitch I kept getting, I let them know that I sent them videos of the glitch on Facebook Messenger. And they let me know that they can't get their messages for Facebook Messenger for their business page on Facebook Messenger. This should have been my first red flag to disengage and walk away. And that maybe I was having a problem with my phone. So I said, no, I tried this on multiple devices. It seems like your website's glitching. Maybe your web service provider's having outage issues. So they kept telling me, no, there was no problem. So I ended up online figuring out how to send them photos, how to send them videos of their glitch that they were having, and on the app that they were using. So we went back and forth a bit discussing it, and they kind of gave me, I don't know if you've had this experience, but they kind of gave me this brush off experience of like, well, I don't know you and you're probably trying to scam me. So I ended up sending them a photo of this order, like, no, I'm a valid customer. I've bought from you like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. It was recent, right? And they're like, oh yes, I remember sending you that order. I'm like, yes, I've ordered from you before. I really want to give you my money and you give me your yarn, right? Like, it's a great exchange. You want money, I want the yarn. Let's work it out. So anyways, we get along in the conversation about how much I want their yarn, and that they hadn't put the candy hearts up on the pre-order. And I'm like, look, I'm willing to try to fight and figure this out, but you also haven't you've put the other colors you had up on the pre-order, which were less popular. So I'm not sure why they didn't put candy hearts. But I'm like, you haven't put candy hearts back up on the pre-order. Are you going to do that? Well, I guess they didn't understand what I was asking. So I just said, look, if I could get this figured out, I will order 2 of Morning Surf. That was the other name, which we're about to see. I will order 2 of Morning Surf, but I want one of them to be candy hearts. Now, I've been an indie dyer before, so this would have been no problem. It would have been like, I'm so sorry you're having difficulty. The conversation would have not gone this far, but because they kept trying to tell me that it was my fault, that they were having a technical glitch on their website. And they were like, well, maybe but none of my other customers have had the problem. The thing is what ended up happening is what I suggested to them. I'm like, maybe because I use Apple devices, I'm like, maybe only Apple people are having problems with your website, and your, what's the other service provider, the other phone out there, Samsung's, I don't know what their iOS, like their browser thing's called. Anyways, whatever it is. So I'm like, maybe it's just your Apple users having a problem. And why you don't know about it is because if I didn't love your yarn so much, have been here in Japan for so long, know how challenging it is to get yarn from indie dyers in Japan, like maybe your other potential customers just didn't try so hard to explain to you that you've got a website glitch. They just tried, they saw it was broken, and they went away and just didn't care. They bought from someone else. So like that was their response to me, was like, well, none of my other customers are having a problem. And the thing is I know that all they put up for like this release was maybe 5 skeins of yarn. So they sold out on 5 skeins of yarn. It wasn't like a ton. Like they didn't have a lot of customers, and they wouldn't, like, they're paying for advertising. So they obviously don't have a ton of customers. They just have a small trickle of customers. So when you have a customer saying to you, I think your website's glitching, I've tried this, I've tried that, I've tried all these different ways. You try to say, okay, you know what? Pay me through, I paid on the previous order through PayPal. So they have a PayPal. So I'm like, I can send you the money on PayPal. Like, that's a really simple solution. Like, great. You know what? You want candy hearts? I'll make it happen. Send me this amount on PayPal. We're good to go. So instead of doing something like that, they said, you probably should contact my internet service provider. I should contact their web hosting service. I should contact their web host to explain their technical glitch, which already was starting to be like, I don't want to contact your web host. But Japan does things different. So I'm like, okay, sure. So I find their web host information. I send the little report in. I send the photos and the video. I can't send a video of the glitch because they don't accept videos, but I explain it in detail. I type, what iOS I'm using, and I'm doing this all in Japanese because their web host provider is a Japan company. So I go back and forth for days with their web host provider. Their web host provider asked me multiple times what type of phone I have, what version of browser, like what browser am I using, what version of iOS I have. I have all those technical details, which I gave them in the very first email, because not only was I trying this on one phone, multiple phones, but also a laptop. So it was a repeated issue across multiple devices. So I gave them all this like details, the technical details on everything, saying this isn't isolated to just one phone one time. This is multiple devices. And I would tell them what version of iOS I have, which is the most up to date. And then they would write back and ask me again, so what version of iOS are you using? Yes, I'm using blah, 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 blah. After 4 or 5 days, they finally come back to me saying, oh, yes, we had a problem with Apple users. I'm like, yes, I know. We've got it fixed now. I'm like, great. Go to their little website, go to this Yarn Dyer's website. Everything's working like it should be. Never was a me problem. But it felt like a me problem for a long time. Anyways, a package comes in the mail from this yarn dyer. Somewhere in the process of trying to get it resolved. Now note, they did not have a pre-order for Candy Hearts up. I told them if I could get it to work that I would pre-order if they did not put up a Candy Hearts pre-order, I would order 2 of the other one. But I wanted one of the skeins to be Candy Hearts. They said, okay, no problem, right? I understand you. Like, we made sure it was clear that there was an understanding. Android, thank you, Sunshine. So I thought I had an agreement with, like, they got my money. That was the most important thing to me, is that they got my money. So they got my money for this yarn. We have an agreement between me and the little indie dyer who's just dyeing 5 skeins at a time out of their little kitchen or whatever, that they're going to make me a Candy Hearts. So the package comes and I'm like, all is well in the world. Sure, I explained way too much about the technical glitch, but all is well. I got the yarn. I got this yarn that I wanted for 2 days, that I waited and waited and waited for, you know, it to launch, all through the website glitches and everything else and blah, blah, blah. And what comes in the mail? Not Candy Hearts. So after I opened this package and I was feeling so kind of like deflated, because I'm like, I thought after having a conversation with this indie dyer, we were on the same page. I go to send them a message online because I think the package came first. And I waited until after the glitch was fixed with their web host. So I went to send them a message online, like initiate the conversation of like, hey, I finally got through to your web host and they found out it was an issue with Apple users on that day at that time. And all is set and working well now, you know, you're welcome. And I think I wrote I spent 4 or 5 days on it. You're welcome. So I could kind of initiate back that conversation of and they'd be like, oh, cool, thanks for helping me with that. And be like, hey, remember we talked about how I wanted a Candy Hearts? Well, you mailed me 2 of Morning Surf. And when I send that initial message, hey, I spent so much time with talking to your web host, who asked me the same question over and over again. They have their line service turned off, the app that they're using for communication. I got an automated message back like, sorry, this user is no longer using this service. So they're not getting messages on Facebook Messenger. They're not getting messages online. I've got 2 of the same, which is beautiful. This colorway is beautiful, but it's not the Candy Hearts I really wanted the most of. I spent, 2 days talking to them about their web host issue, 4 or 5 days talking to their web host themselves, repeating the same question over and over again, going kind of above and beyond to help them out. And I just wanted the 1 skein of yarn. And unlike in America, you can't really go off on people. This would be a situation where I would just go off and blast someone and just be an absolute jerk about it. But in Japan, you can't do that. You got to be very polite and restrained and mellow and chill and not you know, not put someone on blast. So I was talking to someone earlier today, a little, like, it's kind of the first grown-up I've talked to this situation, the first grown-up in the Yarny world that I've talked, because that's it too. You really have no one to talk to about this who would actually understand. So I was talking to another grown-up in the Yarny world, like, and then they cut off their line. Like, it's not they have me blocked, because that was the first question they asked me. Like, well, are you sure they just didn't block you? They sent you off to go talk to their web host, and then they blocked you because, like, you told them too much, they were having problems with their web host, and they just didn't believe you, and so they blocked you. And I'm like, no, because that's a different message. You get a message back saying the person blocked you. I made sure I double checked, but no, they just cut off their line service. So I was talking to this other Yarny friend earlier today, and I realized that their Instagram is still working. So I think I'm going to try to reach out to them saying, hello, you know, I don't know if you remember me from Line, but I'm your customer down in this city. I still really love your yarn. I spent days fixing your web host issue with your web host service provider. And I remember us talking about how you were going to send me candy hearts, but you sent me 2 morning surf, maybe by mistake. And I would still love, I'll keep these, but I would still love to pay you to make me candy hearts. Or, being that I've gone through all that, I do have, so that's the point of obsessing over a color. I have tried to find similar colors of this yarn, but it's really hard to get like exact colors when you're shopping online. And my other Yarny friend, her name's Amanda, she's in Sweden. When I was talking to Amanda earlier today, she's like, you know, their pictures that they put on their website don't quite actually match what you get in real life. I'm like, yeah, there's indie dyers who do that. They doctor up their photos and Photoshop a little bit to look a little more bright, which happens. And then what you get in the mail is not what it looked like on the website, or especially with speckle yarns like this. This is speckles, and this one is not the best of examples. This one here is a little more speckly. You get, so this one is pretty much exactly how it looked online. I'm not disappointed, but I know there was one I got last year that looked very speckly. And what I ended up getting was something that had like 3 or 4 speckles in the whole skein. It was a heavily speckled yarn, and what I got was a very lacking speckles yarn. So they always, sometimes yarn dyers will post their best photo, but you get a significantly subpar result in the mail. So this is also a common trend of either photos are the best that they have, or they've been photoshopped to look brighter. So when I was talking to Amanda, she's like, you know, that other one you got doesn't quite look, I'm like, yeah, I know. I think they're brightening their photos in Photoshop. So it's a combination of they're brightening their photos in Photoshop. They advertise mostly on Facebook, but their Facebook Messenger page isn't working. Somehow, for some reason, they cut down their Line account, and they're still heavily advertising. And one thing they do is people will buy their yarn with other yarns at these little pop-up shops in Yokohama, which is like the next town over. And they will steal that person's content off Instagram and thank them by tagging them. That's rattling, please. So they will steal their content and tag them and use that for advertising. So they'll like here's their yarn in a bag, right? And then the person will have bought other yarns, right? Like, I went shopping, I bought these yarns. Now an advertisement in Japanese. So they will take the person's shopping and tag the person saying thank you. But it's like, God, they tag the other people too. It's just weird. It's weird. Like, it's Facebook Reels, they're using that feature to make these. And they're pulling the content off from other people's social media to make these Facebook Reels, but it's not like exclusively their yarn. And yeah, they may be tagging the other yarn dyers in the photo, but like, I don't know, it's odd. So I could reach out to them on their Instagram and say, hey, I fixed your web host serving issue and all that. You know, can I please order this yarn you have? And then probably it will show up and not be as magical as it is in their photo that they advertised it with. Or I know some people who do custom dye work, and I'm like, maybe I take their photo. Like, to me, this is also like kind of not ethical in the indie dye world. Like, you should never take someone else's picture of hand dyed yarn and ask another dyer to, like, I should never, you know, take a photo of this yarn and ask some other dyer other than this person to make me a replica of this. To me, that feels very, you know, that feels very bad. Like, it feels very unethical. So I feel like it would feel very bad to take a photo of their yarn that they had on their website and go to an indie dyer who does custom dye work and say, will you make me a duplicate of this? Because I can't get it from the dyer. Like, I still don't feel like that's right. So I've kind of done my own, like, pulling, like, you can use the paint feature to pull colors. Like, you know, you can take a photo and, well, the photo that they posted and kind of pull the colors out. So I kind of did that with my thumbnail down in the bottom right corner, which is where the timestamp sends up. So it's kind of not the best to pull it, but I've pulled the colors out using paint. And like, maybe I just used the colors examples, but in all this kind of this has been a bit over a week going on, and kind of all this like tracking it down. And I've been ordering different samples from different places of colors that are similar or close or whatever, is I find that these colors most represent a candy called buttermints, which is a candy that the internet even kind of explained it out to me. So buttermints is a candy that I thought it was actually European, because I remember it from when I was a kid, like dishes. There also comes sometimes called after dinner mints or cloud mints, and probably most of us don't know the name buttermints, but it was like that pink, yellow, green candy in a candy dish that sometimes old people had or restaurants had. And I thought it maybe came from Europe origins, but it actually is, well, it might originate somehow in European origins, but it's mostly attributed to the Pennsylvania Dutch in the US about the 1880s. And so they probably brought it with them when they came over to US and, you know, developed their culture in the US, the Amish, right? The Pennsylvania Dutch Amish. And so that's kind of the origins of buttermint. So that's what this yarn fantasy, it's kind of now a yarn fantasy at this point, because I don't think the photo truly will represent what the person sells. I think they brightened it quite a bit. So my fantasy, yarn fantasy that I'm living in right now, is pretty much the colors of buttermints and kind of how I remember buttermints and how I think of them. So that's kind of this roundabout way of saying, yes, I'm obsessing over, and not just really the pink and the yellow, because I own lots of pink and yellow yarns. I'm looking for that like perfect green, a green that's not too yellow and not too blue and not too gray. Like this green they have here in their morning surf, to me is a bit too gray. So I'm looking for, you know, that perfect green that's not too yellow, not too blue, not too dark. It has to be a very light green, a very light minty green that's not too turquoisey, and that isn't neon. And so Little Ears is getting a little impatient with me, but maybe she'll be just patient for another minute, because I think mostly she just wants me to move on to more yarn. She's bargaining, because I'm supposed to only keep my live streams going for 20 minutes, but I'm trying to catch you guys up on a lot and run a thought here. And then another ad. So this ad is in English, but with Japanese subtitles. So these are all under my Spoon account. I guess I'm also on a research phase of the language things that Japan has changed, or not Japan, that YouTube has changed. I guess I'm on some weird research mission as well. So hold on, I've cleared up my spot. I've cleaned up a little. Let me get my next little batch of yarn. And just a moment here, I ended up closing my chat, which if you're still hanging out with, thank you. So in the disappointment of the indie dyer didn't send what we agreed to, spending many days communicating in Japanese, not only with them, but their web host provider, solving their issue that was not a me issue at all, I started looking for alternatives of yarn. And one thing that kept popping up for me was opal, which, as you know, some of you may know, I love opal. And I'm just gonna, hold on, I have to make kind of a little mess here, so then we can make a unmess. I have to stand up or reach over something that fell. Had to empty my box. All right, so Opal kept advertising me something. Or somehow I kept getting shown an Opal. I'm gonna get rid of all the plastic too here while we're working. So Opal kept showing me, yes, this one, this Rubble Wind. And I don't remember where I was searching. So I don't know if anyone else is having, like, I wouldn't really say internet issues, but like tech issues the last month or so. But I've been in like a tech mayhem whirlwind for like a month. And one of the challenges I've been having is my search results in Google, even using a VPN. So even searching for things that bring me different results. I used to consistently be able to get US based responses out of Google, even using my VPN. Now I'm getting mostly Japanese and European responses. So I was trying, and Opal's a European yarn brand. So, and it's very common and easy usually to get here in Japan, but this particular one, I was searching Amazon Japan for it, and Amazon Japan didn't have it. They had others of this line, but not this particular colorway. It was sold out. That's the roadblock I've been hitting lately, is I really want something and then it's sold out. And I'm just such a determined person that you can't keep me from what I want. I'll find it eventually. So Amazon Japan had this particular colorway sold out, so I started searching for it, and that led me to Rakuten, which I mentioned earlier, which is like being in a fever dream because it's a online Japan shopping that feels like a cross between Amazon and MySpace for formatting. So I went to the fever dream that is Rakuten, found this yarn, which is where I have found Opal before in Japan, and not had problems with it. But the thing is when you start going down this fever dream on Rakuten, you end up finding the recommendation section where they recommend or they refer you to other things. And I have a Opal yarn addiction. I just love it. There's so many colors. I love this yarn and all the things. I've got a problem. I need Opal yarn rehab. So this recommendation says, hey, did you know we're reprinting this color? And would you like this color? And I'm like, why, yes, I would like all those things. Thank you. But you know, they don't just stop at referring you to one thing. I'm sorry for the rattling plastic. Would you like maybe a solid color? Why, yes. And while that's not the green I'm looking for, who doesn't love a neon green? And then if you love a neon green, with a neon green, you should have a pink, not the neon pink, which I do have the neon pink, but this is a different pink. This is a rose pink. And they're like, hey, would you like some other things? And I'm like, yes, I would love all those other things, please and thank you. And they're like, well, do you think that's enough? Well, no, it's never enough opal. You always can have more opal. And then they're like, well, let us show you more then. And so let me just throw this all in my box. They're like, hello to you. Would you like all this opal? And I'm like, yes, send it all, please. Now, this one here might be as close as it could be to that minty green in my brain that I'm looking for. But this particular skein of yarn doesn't have, this is what started me down this crazy rabbit hole. This particular green doesn't have, or this particular skein doesn't have any yellow, which is why I ordered this yellow one. But these don't have really the perfect pink. So then I got this pink one, right? Like, I'm like, oh, I could just combine this and get all the colors I want, plus some other colors, right? But it's not, it's a little bit satisfactory, but it's not like the perfect satisfaction of the yellow, the green, the pink together, right? Like, that's what I want. I want the yellow, the green, and the pink. I don't want all the other shades and colors and tones. So after this whole mayhem of an opal order, I kind of spoke to my own brain and said, okay, all right, you indulged in all that opal, which I'm sure will be lovely and nice and quite a nice treat for yourself, but it's not really what you were looking for. Maybe the alternative solution is to find some solid colors. I just make your own minty green, buttery yellow, pale pink. And so I went on the search. The problem with that is when your brain goes down that path, your brain wants it now. I want this now. I want this minty green now. And when you go down these rabbit hole searches, especially when you're in Japan, going back to my earlier statement of knitting's not really a thing here. Everything down this road leads to you ordering from the US. There's no immediate satisfaction here in Japan, mostly. So anything that you can maybe find or fill in here in Japan is just like pouring like just a little drop in a big giant hole. So I found some things in the US that I'm having to wait to come in the mail. And while I'm waiting, I did go on Amazon Japan and try to find some solid colors, which is what I'll open up here. Let me just get rid of the plastic. I'll open it all up and then speak. Admitting that you have an addiction is the first step. Yeah, this is true. This is true. So. I don't know. I don't have the 12 steps memorized, so I don't know what the second step is. All right, so there's some things still on the way from the US. Maybe it's the perfect thing, maybe not. I don't know, because it takes like anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks for things to get here. But while waiting for that, I got these solid colors on Amazon Japan. Next day or 2 day, it was quite the wait. And they're close. I also ordered just some other colors, right? So I ordered these kind of other pastellis here. But my like little perfect like pink, pale pink, minty green, yellow. I find this yellow is a little more like lighter. I want a more vibrant yellow, a more brighter yellow, a more buttery yellow. And I feel this is more like a pale, subdued, demure yellow. This green, it's close. It's close. It is light. It is bright. It's maybe a little bit too bright. See, you have to be bright, but not too bright, but not too gray. You have to be just right. I feel like more of a sagey minty green, is if that even such a thing. And I wasn't really particular on the pink because I have so much pink yarn that I can make it work. But this pink is okay. It's just okay. So it wasn't quite the magical combination. So I'm still searching. I'm still thinking. I'm still putting things together. I'm still ordering things. I've got a cart on fiber optics yarn. Let me just move these out of the way so I can bring out what fiber optics is. So fiber optics was this dyer. So I love her yarn. So fiber optics, you could just Google search fiber optics. Fiber optics yarn, she has a bazillion semi-solid colors. And I started going through pulling what I think is close. And she offers, I think I lost my little mini skein that I had in here. Well, I haven't lost it. I just put it somewhere. It might still, oh, look, there's some Japan snacks in here. Anyways, she does little mini skeins for like $6. So I thought about just going through and picking out all the kind of what in my mind is close based on the photos. And then just ordering all these little $6 mini skeins. And then once they arrive, I can look at them in person and maybe find the perfect, my fantasy yarn perfect combo in my mind, and then order the bigger skeins. What am I making with this imaginary fantasy yarn project? I don't know. Was this ever going to be this huge in my mind if I never had the mishap with the yarn dyer that had the technical glitch? Probably not. If I had not had the technical glitch, I probably would have just ordered the yarn. It would have come in the mail and I would have been, oh, that's pretty, and thrown it in my stash. But now it's become this whole thing that has lasted well over a week of obsessive focusing and resulted in a bunch of yarn coming to my house and like this like hunt for the perfect solution. So in that hunt, it led me to a whole new website here in Japan called Crema, which is new and seems to be like Japan's version of Etsy. Hold on here, I'm just shuffling things around. Little temporary sidetrack here. This is what ice cream looks like in Japan.
You're at $10 so far.
All right, so this is ice cream here in Japan. I set this out for you guys. So like there's seasonal ice cream here. So that's Baskin Robbins. I know, an American company, but they're Japan version. And then they have ice cream cakes. All right, set that aside over here. There's a big crafting expo coming to Yokohama in the end of October. So I'm getting ads for it. This next yarn person we're going to talk about sent me this advertisement. So we're months away and they keep sending it to me because I've placed now 2 orders with them. So Crema seems to be the Japanese version of Etsy. I haven't gotten too deep into it because I have found that the only way to pay, remember earlier I talked about complications of paying, the only way to pay them for me, not other people, just me, Japanese people have other options, but if you're not Japanese and in the Japanese banking system, this is your only way, seems to be to charge it to my cell phone bill. So I don't want to get too deep and too carried away and then have an overwhelming cell phone bill. So that for me is the only way to pay. So I'm trying to keep focused to just one person there. I did the last time I went to go leave my feedback, added someone else I found, but I'm trying not to fall too far down this rabbit hole over there. But before that, a little sidetrack. I did find another, I guess Facebook has finally figured out that I'm in Japan and that I like yarn. And so that's how it started advertising to me. So I found like just a yarn shop. Sorry for the rattling. Everything's in cellophane. I did find a yarn shop before this whole deep dive into the perfect mint green and buttery yellow and pale pink. I did find another yarn shop in Japan because I was in a spring mood. We had cherry blossoms, so I was trying to find, that's another obsession that can lead you down a rabbit hole. So I don't know if you know this, but cherry blossoms come in multiple colors. There's different types of cherry blossom trees, and they bloom different colors of cherry blossoms. So every person in their own mind has a different version or idea of what color is a cherry blossom. So for me, a cherry blossom is a very light pink with a bit of a peachiness to it. So I have been obsessing over finding the perfect cherry blossom yarn for years. I have finally found what I consider to be the perfect cherry blossom yarn. To me, this matches a weeping, I don't know if you know this, but there's such things as a weeping cherry blossom tree. So there's like a weeping willow, there's a weeping cherry blossom tree, which has a kind of peach pink pale flower. This to me is the perfect cherry blossom yarn. So I am happy that I did find the perfect cherry blossom yarn, but it is in very limited supply and I bought all that they had. Which is basically, I think I got 5 total. One's in my teaspoons blanket. And they had also, just for fun, this kind of light pale purple and this green here. So, and then they had, I don't know why this yarn shop has it because I can't really find anything out about them, but they had like this this indie dyed yarn. But just like, they only do like one skein. Like, that's it. That's all we have. We only make one and that's it. So that was a little kind of like a side quest. All right, let me just put this little piece of paper away. So this was a little side quest here. And then the last thing, and then teaspoon saying I have to wind up. So back to this crema that I mentioned earlier. All right. So crema has, I said it's like the Japanese version of Etsy. And I don't know. Oh, it was a Google search that led me to crema. I was looking for a minty yarn and somehow it led me to this person on this thing called crema, which I discovered is like the Japanese version of Etsy. So this person does little like partial skeins, and I'm just going to show it here. I don't think I'm going to rearrange my bucket this time, maybe next time. Because Teaspoon wants me to wrap up so we can go do something because it is a beautiful sunny day. So this person does hand-dyed yarn and little mini skeins. And I think they're mostly making stuff for weaving. But I've ordered from them twice now and I like them. And while I have not found the perfect pink, pale pink, buttery yellow, minty green, love you too. I have not found the perfect pale pink, buttery yellow, minty green. I have gotten many beautiful things from this person and probably will order from them again while I wait for the other things I ordered to come in the mail. And this is kind of my last thing, and then I'm all caught up of all that's happened since the last time I spoke to all of you. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got. I'm on the hunt for the perfect yarn that looks like buttermints with color matching. This is what I've gotten to so far, and probably the next time I live stream will be after I get some of these orders in the US mail, and if I decide to order all the little mini skeins from Fiber Optics. And yeah, that's pretty much the plan. We're going horseback riding mid-May, and maybe I'll finish my mittens by then. I have no idea what I'm doing again with all this. It's just my brain becomes hyper focused and obsessed on a small little detail, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I hope you all are having an amazing evening. This went on way longer than I was planning, and thanks for hanging out. Then I'll see you next time.